Okay, so welcome everyone. Let's begin. Seated. So I have a few mats over here. I always have extra padding. So take your time finding your seat. Easy cross-legged position. Just rock it out from side to side. Hands can rest on the knees and just roll the shoulders back and down. If it feels safe and comfortable, you can allow the eyes to close. Relax the muscles of the face. We begin here connecting to breath and easing into the practice. So as we ease into the practice, we ease into our seat. Make any adjustments that are needed. Any props, just have them close by. Take some time to pull the lower jaw away from the upper jaw. Release any tension in and around the mouth and the nose and the eyes. You may want to just scrunch up the face entirely, and then you can relax the muscles. Begin to notice the breath. Inhale followed by exhale. And if your eyes are closed, we just take a moment to imagine the physical body in the space. So just imagine the front body, side body, and the back body. So just taking this view from the inside out. And see if you can feel into all aspects of the body with the breath. So I find it a bit more connected with mind, body, and breath when we can center on the breath and bring hands to the body. So if it feels comfortable, you can bring the hands to the top of the head. This is a really wonderful way to become grounded. Right hand to the right side of the head, left hand to the left side of the head, and maybe the fingertips will touch at the crown of the head. Allow the shoulders to soften and the elbows to extend out to the side. Just take a few rounds of breath here, holding hands to head. Maybe noticing how the spaces in between the ribs begin to open up as you inhale. And exhale long and slow. A few rounds of breath here. We just set a pace or a rhythm to the inhale and the exhale that will carry us through the practice. I always like to take extra time with this portion of centering on sensation, on breath, and really what's happening in the mind, how we're feeling tonight. Some of us may be coming from a busy day, a lot of chaos, responsibilities. So it can be a lot to just be here now, settling in. Some stillness, some quiet, the sound of your breath. If you like, the hands can slide down and cup the ears. So the fingertips can rest just above the ears and the thumbs to the back, behind the ears. So just allow the shoulders and the elbows to soften. And as you cup the ears, you might feel as if you could hear the breath shift in and out. Just a little bit more loudly. So tune into the breath. Long exhale out. Take a moment to notice how you're feeling in the physical body, from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes, but linger in any place in between. There may be some areas where you need to take extra care. Just be a little bit more patient and observant with your body. So continuing with this breath, that you have control over the pace, the rhythm. And then slowly, again, if it only feels safe and comfortable, you can transition the hands over the eyes. So the base of the palms rest along the cheekbones, the curve of the palm just over the eyes, and then you have the fingertips that rest on the forehead. Thumbs may press just above the ears. The elbows may extend forward this time. Just find any softening that you can in the upper back, perhaps drawing the breath there into the back of the body. Exhale, grounding down through your seat. Sensing into the legs, the lower legs, the knees, the ankles, and into the feet. Rounds of breath. It's all about taking time to observe and notice inner world and outer world. Maybe acknowledging all of the events of your day, everything that led you into this moment, and all of the effort that it took to get here. Take 1 or 2 more rounds of breath. Release the hands from the eyes, and then maybe bring the hand to the heart space and one hand to the belly. Feel the breath shift in and out. Know that as we move through the practice, changing shapes and positions, move through transitions, the breath is always there to carry us. So feeling in, perhaps you can breathe in all the way to the low belly, feel that fullness. And then exhale long and slow. Feel the warming breath on the upper lip. You're able to breathe out through the nostrils. Taking another round here, maybe focusing the attention of breathing in through the nostrils. For chest, rib cage, low belly, filling up. Exhale long and slow. Pressing that breath out through the nostrils. We'll take 1 more round. Deep breathing here. And exhale, long and slow. You can release the hands, bring them back to the thighs or the knees, and allow the eyes to flutter open if they were closed. And I like to bring the hands to the outsides of the knees. If you bring the knees in, so gentle assist here. We'll keep the knees flexed and just press down through the soles of the feet, just rocking it out from side to side, shifting the weight here. As you press down into the feet, just notice the great toe and the small toe, points of the heel, and then roll the shoulders back. Take a look with your gaze, either at the ceiling or where the wall meets the ceiling. Breathe in. And then as you exhale, hold the hands on the knees and begin to round the spine, tucking chin to chest. So a few seated spinal stretches, breathing in and breathing out. So everything tonight in the class is just moving at your own pace. These are all offerings and options. The most important thing is to observe how it feels in your body and to explore within the movements. So the practice for me is all about those in-between spaces. So I'll try to highlight those as we go. So a couple more rounds. Spinal stretches, breath in, breath out, maybe lingering a little bit, and that exhale, chin to chest. Lengthening through the arms, pressing down through the feet, and then inhale, coming back up with the spine, extending the legs. Hands to either side of the hips and just give your legs a shake. So I would say give your legs a pretty vigorous shake. You may even want to point the toes and then draw the toes up towards the ceiling. Just feel into the stretch in the backs of the legs. Just finding that rotation, maybe one ankle circles and then the other ankle circles. And then again, coming back to the shaking of the legs. I always like to readjust my seat as well, rocking it out from side to side. And then I'll bring my hands underneath the knees, again, gently assisting my legs back into flexion. We're coming into what's called a 90-90 pose, or in a yin style of deer pose. So the sole of the right foot will come to the front of the left thigh. We're just sort of moving, shifting in through the hips and the knees. So make adjustments on your mat. Maybe rock it forward and back. We're just going to move side to side with the upper body. So let's lean into that right hand. Again, I like the options. So instead of the whole palm coming down, maybe just the fingertip pads. Reach, and then that left arm can come up. Reach over to the right. So breathe into the left side of the body. Press up with that right hand, right fingertips, and then switch it out. So the left hand will come down and you reach up with the right arm. So just side to side motions. You can move slow. You can move somewhat quickly. So as you shift it out from side to side, adjust the pace, connect to breath. So you can stay with this side to side motion. Some of you may want to lean into that right hand or fingertips. As you reach up with the left hand, maybe you lift the pelvis up as well. So just getting more of an opening through the front body, and then sweeping that left arm back and finding a lift through the right arm and the pelvis as well. So again, just options and moving at your own pace. So when I think about pace and rhythm, I always think about music. I'm a big music lover. So you can move in a pace that is adagio, right? That is at ease. You can move it andante, which is at a walking pace, or you could move allegro, which is a brisk pace. So your choice. When you're complete, we're going to reach both arms up. So maybe take the gaze up towards the ceiling, reach through the fingers, and then as you exhale, we're coming halfway down with the torso. So as if you're reaching with the hands beyond the edge of your yoga mat for a large ball. So reaching there, just feeling the arms lengthen, allowing the breath to shift out. One more inhale and reach through the arms. And then exhale, you can release the hands. So I like to walk the hands down, maybe coming onto the forearms and just hang the head heavy. So tuck the chin towards the chest, just shake your head yes or no. The front of the torso on the right side may make connection with that right thigh, and that's great. So just shifting from side to side, just feeling that torso or belly to thigh connection, breathing in and breathing out. See if you can take one more round, this full whole body breath, breathing into the upper back, the middle back, and the low back. And exhale long and slow. Just feeling the weight of the head hang down. And then shifting all the way to the right, sliding the left hand to help assist you back up. Sliding that right hand, so right to left, just working your way. And as the hands come alongside the hips, again, I just use my hands to gently assist the legs out of the position, and then we'll switch it out to the other side. So we'll take this 90-90 pose or deer pose to the opposite side. So this time the sole of the left foot will come to the front of the right thigh. So always make adjustments in your seat. Find comfort. And then we'll lean into that left hand, so either left palm down or tented fingers, and we'll sweep this right arm across the body. So reaching, taking your breath here, and then switching it out, just adjusting your pace. Adagio at ease, andante at a walking pace, allegro, brisk. Just opening up through the side body, side to side shifts, right to left. Adding a lift with the pelvis if that feels good. Full breath in, long breath out. Just warming up the body, Exploring the front and the sides and the back as well. Maybe taking the pace down if you're at a quicker rhythm, side to side. And then we'll meet with both arms, reaching up towards the ceiling. Perhaps the gaze will follow. Breath in, and then exhale, extending through the torso just halfway. So your gaze is down towards the floor or at the mat. Just reaching through the fingertips, lengthening through the arms. Imagining that you're holding a large ball, just something you can grasp, reach for. Take another round of breath, feeling the strength in the back of your body holding you up. And when you're ready to exhale, we just release the hands down. Perhaps the forearms come down. Blocks and props, this is a great place. Slide one underneath the forehead. But otherwise, just tuck the chin. And try to relax the head and neck. You may want to shake the head, yes or no. And just notice the differences from right to left. Is the left side of the torso making enough contact with that left thigh? Our bodies are not symmetrical. So there may be some connection that's a bit different from side to side. And just noticing breath and sensation. When we're on the right side, we connect it to the back of the body. So on this left side, see if you can expand your awareness into the side body. So just underneath the armpits, the rib cage, as you breathe in, open up the spaces there. Feel that widening out to the sides, and then exhale long and slow. Maybe the head can release a little bit more. Take one more round of breath here. And as you exhale, there's that weight shift. I like to shift it out to the left side and slide the right hand in, and then the left. Just shift it out from side to side, walking the hands back towards the hips, gently finding the hands to the legs to assist them out of that pose. And then you may want to extend the legs one more time. Just give them a vigorous shake. Pointing the toes, pressing down through the heels, drawing the toes up towards the ceiling. Feeling out the low body. We'll bend into the knees and we'll meet in hands and knees pose. So from here, I like to always mix it up a bit. So when you bring your hands to your mat, you can always open up the space between the fingers, press down through the fingertip pads, the large pad of the thumb, and press in. Maybe lifting through the fingers, the first knuckle and the second knuckle, just as if you're a cat sort of clawing the carpet. And then just slowly bring in your rock backs, shifting forward, shifting back, maybe circling it around. As you shift the weight from side to side, you may want to slide onto a forearm. Shifting back, maybe sliding on the other forearm. So just working your way in these rock backs. You can have the toes curled under, toes can be, the tops of the feet can be pressing down. Just shifting forward and back, side to side. And either with the forearms down or just pressing in to the hands, we can drop the pelvis down towards the mat and lift the gaze. So draw your breath in here for that spinal extension. And then tuck, chin to chest, tuck the pelvis, round out the spine, and exhale the breath out. And just working this spinal stretching. Inhale followed by exhale. And then we'll come back to neutral spine. All right, so hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and then just circle the hips right to left. Feel the weight shift from side to side. Give a generous flexion in through the elbows. And then we'll draw that right knee in towards the right elbow. So we're just working through flexion of the knee and the hip on the right side, and then extending the right leg. So you can really circle out through the right ankle or do whatever feels nice for that right foot. I like to point my right toes down and lead with that right heel. Just explore that flexion and extension, see what feels good in your body, and just work at the pace that also seems appropriate. So we'll move it forward and back, and then you can draw some circles to the side, small circles, large circles. But we will fully extend this right leg out to the side, and then see if you can drop down the small toe of that right foot. My arms are a bit short. You can always use blocks and props here. I like tented fingers. It gives me a little more space and control. So I'm just bending into that right knee with the whole right leg out to the side. So this is beginning into a low lunge, so a warm-up stretch that we'll do. And just by flexing the knee and extending the leg, we're working into different aspects of that right hip flexor. When the right knee is bent, we will press in through the great toe and draw the heel and the toe and the heel and the toe up towards the front of the mat, but we're going to stop halfway. So just bring your right heel to the edge of your yoga mat on the right side and just allow the right toes to fan off to the side. The hands will be on the inside of that right leg. So again, we're just shifting forward and back, and this is the movement. We're just shifting in to the lunge, the knees sort of out to the side a bit, and then extending, maybe you lift the toes. I like blocks and props for this type of action too. So holding on to a prop, just lifting that upper body. Connecting to breath here. And then holding wherever it feels good. So if you're on the flexion, just pressing into that right foot, holding into your lunge. Some of you may want to come down onto the forearms, stack up a couple props. Try to release through the head and neck. Some of you may want to stay in that extension. Let's tighten the back of that right leg. Just allow the breath to ease into sensation. So find any particular point of that low lunge where you feel supported. You can ease into the breath. So I don't count breaths really, I just sort of feel into each side. So when the pose feels complete on the right side, take one more round of breath. If you're in a flexion, you may want to round it out with an extension. If you're in that extension, we'll walk back into flexion and then just heel toe. That right foot out to the side, same way we came in, and then circle it back around, and we're in our table pose again. So we'll switch that out to the other side. You can always come down onto the forearms again, just circle out the hips. Little spinal stretches here. Inhale and exhale. Tented fingers are nice, really activating through the fingertip pads. You come down onto the hands, large pad of the thumb, and just become aware of the knuckles. First knuckle, second knuckle. And we'll bring in the left knee, and then find extension. So again, we're just warming up through the knee, through the hip. Notice what is supporting you through the hands, the left leg extends, the top of the right foot presses down. Flexion and extension, moving at a pace that feels good for you. And then perhaps drawing the circles, the knee, opening up that left hip. Blocks are great underneath the hands. You can always come down onto one forearm. And then finding that full extension of the left leg. and then dropping down the left foot. So press through the small toe side of that left foot, and then bring a bend in the left knee. So flex and extend. Tented fingers are really nice here, just gives you a little more length and space. And then we're heel toe, that left foot towards the left side of your mat. So just bring the left heel onto the side of the mat and allow the left toes to hang off. Hands are on the inside of the left leg, and we're just working again with flexion and extension. So moving in and out of these stretches. Making space and allowing the breath to move through as well. So perhaps on that extension, you feel the left toes lift and then come down into flexion and the whole foot presses down. I like these props. Putting onto a block is very helpful. And then just decide if you'd like to hang out in your extension or your flexion. Take 1 or 2 breaths in each. Some of you may want to come down onto your forearms with that deeper lunge. And just connect to breath. Just bringing in some stillness and some space within the transitions of your choice. Okay, so we're in extension, ease back into flexion. Press down through the left foot. Tented fingers again, just give you a little more steering capability, right? So and just heel toe. And left foot out to the side. You may want to bend into the left knee. And extend again there. And then circle that left foot back to meet the right. So here we are in our table pose. So just hinging forward and back, maybe sliding onto the forearms, left and right, right and left. And from here, we'll curl the toes under. And activate through the hands, through the tips of the toes. And if your hips are sort of hinging back towards your heels, you can open up the hands, the space between the fingers, open up the hands nice and wide and push the mat away. So that strengthens the upper body, the upper back, just by pushing the mat away. The knees are still down. You're activating through the tips of the toes. So push that mat away and just see if you continue to push, 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 maybe the knees will pop up. So this is very subtle action, just pushing hands into mat, knees might pop up, activating through the tips of the toes. Just working your way from a table pose, ultimately into our downward dog. So these knees hovering, full breath in, long breath out. Perhaps the hips will lift, head and neck can slide through the arms, and just begin to gently walk in pace. So this is andante, right? At a walking pace, right leg and left leg. Take your time shifting. If your head hasn't been below your heart for a while, you may want to drop the knees. Stay steady with the breath. Walking the feet a bit wider than the hips, pressing into the small toe side. Perhaps even coming up onto tented fingers here. And I just shift the weight from side to side often. I don't like a stagnant downward dog. I like a nice mobile, active version. Just always mixing it up. And step the feet back in line with the hips or keep them a little bit wider. One more round of breath. Exhale long and slow. And then we'll bend the knees a lot and then walk the feet towards the hands. So we're going to generously bend these knees, so much so that you have the torso or the belly pressing on the tops of the thighs. If you have a prop, you can hold on to a prop, block one or two, but just allow the head and neck to hang. Chin to chest, full breath in. It's nice to walk the hands to one side and then knees into the other side. And just rocking it out from side to side, and shake your head yes or no. So we're going to come up in that halfway lift a few times before we come up to standing. So keep the knees bent. We're going to keep it a little bit more active. As we inhale, we're going to extend through the crown of the head, but this time we're going to bend the elbows, and if you can keep the hands in fists here if you like, bend the elbows up towards the rib cage and extend those elbows up towards the ceiling. So we'll come up halfway with that. And then exhale, you can release. So as we inhale, the hands will come into fists. The elbows will fully flex. We'll come up halfway. You can keep the knees bent here. So this active pose. It's as if the arms are like little grasshopper legs. And then exhale and release. You can shake it out from side to side. We'll take it one more time. That active halfway lift. Coming up, extending through the crown of the head. With the knees bent, we're pressing down into the feet, and then we're coming all the way up to stand. So slow and steady, you can reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Maybe the gaze will follow. Full breath in here, and then exhale. Release the arms alongside the body. Circle out through the wrists, the ankles. We'll come to standing at the short side of the mat. I have a wall here, so if you haven't stood on one leg in a while, you may want a chair or a wall. You can also keep the hands on the hips and the gaze down. And I like to just begin with rocking forward and back. So we're going to bring in flexion and extension through a standing pose this time. And we'll begin with the right leg. So press down through the left foot, and I call it all four corners, but the corners are the great toe pad, the small toe pad, the inner heel, and the outer heel, and then try to bend into that left leg. So you're strong and steady there. And then just unpeel the right heel. So what we're doing is just coming up with that right knee and stepping back with that right foot. So coming up with the right knee, so full flexion of knee to hip, and then extending back. So kind of easing into that high crescent lunge, but just bringing a little bit of momentum in. So I'm going to keep my hand on the wall here for steadiness, but just find that flexion and extension. So there's a bit of trust here, right? As we extend that right leg back, we need to just make sure, yes, the floor is there. Right knee comes up. Some of you may want to build with this and add the arms. You can hold wherever it feels comfortable, maybe with the right knee up. You can extend that right leg back, and ultimately we'll come into that high crescent lunge. So the gaze can be up, it can be where the wall meets the ceiling, the arms are lifted. It's as if you're reaching for cloud maybe from the sky. So just reaching through the fingertips, breath in and breath out. One more. And this time as you exhale, we'll release the arms, press into that left foot, and then bring the right to meet. All right, so from here, switch it out. So the standing leg will be the right leg. Find the great toe mound, small toe mound, inner heel and outer heel. Bend into that right knee. And then we'll just pop up through that left heel. So it's just the action of bending into the knee and the hip, and then stepping back with that left leg. So we can move as slowly or as briskly as we like. Use the supports that are needed. Keeping the gaze down to steady our balance. Maybe adding in the arms. And then holding any part of these transitions that feels good. And we'll step back with that left leg to our high crescent lunge for a few rounds of breath. So reaching those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Soften through the shoulders. Adjust the head and neck to your comfort level. Inhale, reach through the fingers, press into that right foot, and we'll bring the left to meet the right. So here we are, back in standing, and we will find mountain pose together. So I directly bring my gaze down towards the floor, towards my feet. I'm just going to create what's called a foot seal or a foot lock to the floor or your mat. So one way we can do that, just bring the hands to the hips and just rock it out, forward and back. Maybe pressing into the left foot and lifting up the right heel, pressing into the right toes, switching that out, pressing down through the right foot, and then lifting up through the left heel. So many different parts of the feet here. You can open it up and lift through the great toe and the inner heel. Just feel the strength that begins to build on the outside of the legs when you do that. Dropping down the great toes, switching that out. Maybe lifting up the small toe side and the outer heel. Awkward. And then releasing through, again, all four corners of the feet. From here, I'm going to reach back and just hold on to my support. Shift into the left foot, and then coming up all the way onto the tiptoes of that right foot, and then curling the toes under and pressing down through the top of the right foot. Just maybe shifting the weight forward and back and feeling that there. Same on the other side, so root down through the right side, unpeel that left heel, come all the way up onto the left tiptoes, and then curling the toes under, rocking forward and back, finding the strength in the top of the left foot. Okay, from here we can shake out the right leg, shake out the left leg. Root down through all four corners of the feet, and then inhale, the arms up. So we'll come into full mountain pose. Gaze can be lifted up towards the ceiling or where the wall meets the ceiling, but we'll hold here for 3 full breaths. So keeping the arms lifted. Inhaling through the fingers, exhale down through the feet. 2 more here. Inhale through the fingers. Exhale down through the feet. You can slowly release the arms as well. Stepping the feet a little bit wider than hip width. Hands can come to the hips. We're just going to bend into the knees and come into a wider leg squat. So if you haven't sat in an imaginary chair in a while, or played football in a little while, this is our football squat. So we're just rocking forward and back, bending through the knees. I like to bring the forearms to the tops of the thighs here and press the palms together. I have a little bit more control through the hips and through the knees, and I can just shift the weight from side to side. So finding that squat, pressing the palms together, pressing the feet down into the mat, and then just looking up beyond the edge of your yoga mat. Breath in, and then exhale, we're folding. Shake the head yes or no. You can straighten the legs. Inhale back into your squat. Exhale and fold. Shift it out from side to side. And one more time. Inhale into your squat. And then exhale into your fold. This time, you may want to walk the feet a little bit wider. Perhaps the small toe lines up with your edge of the yoga mat. Bend into the knees again, so coming into a wider leg football squat. And then we'll bring the hands to the thighs. So just allow the elbows to extend out to the side. And what we can do is drop the right shoulder down, come back up, drop the left shoulder down, back up. One more time on each side. Extend through the crown of the head, pressing the palms into the tops of the thighs here. And then exhale, you can straighten the legs, release the arms, and release the head and neck. I like to keep a bend in my knees and just shift it out from side to side, maybe adding a prop underneath the hands, block. And a long exhale. Bending into the knees, we'll walk the hands up the legs, hands to hips, maybe even opening the palms, extending the arms up, full body stretch here, and then exhale, releasing the hands. So we're going to keep with that wide leg. And if you have the long side of your mat that you can open up into, right leg out, left leg out, coming into this 5-pointed star pose. So right foot, right hand, left foot, left hand, and the crown of the head. It's coming into all points of contact here. So if it feels safe and comfortable, allow the eyes to close, or maybe you just lower the lids and focus on something that doesn't move in your space. So as we did just in the beginning of class, with your mind's eye, imagine the back body, side body, front body, toes and fingers, crown, pelvis, just imagining your whole body in space. Staying steady through the arms as you breathe in and out. You can allow the eyes to open. Drop that right arm down alongside the right leg and just reach up with the left arm. Gaze can follow. This is where we can add some pacing. So left arm down, right arm reaches up, gaze can follow. And just move slowly or as briskly as you like. It's helpful to keep the gaze down with these transitions from side to side. Take it one more time on each side. And then come back to the center. Hands can come to the hips. And with the feet in a wider stance beyond the hips, we'll take the left toes and point them towards the short edge of your mat. So here we are opening up into a warrior two stance. You can bend into that left knee. And we've worked through this so many times already, just that flexion and extension, grounding down through the left foot. Find the aspects that you've already connected to. And then holding on your flexion. Gaze can be down or at the corner of a yoga mat, something that doesn't move. You roll the shoulders back and extend the arms. Your gaze can follow along the fingertips of the left hand. You feel stable. Steady your breath. So we'll move through a flow here, warrior two, and then we'll slide this right arm down the right leg for our reverse warrior two. We'll come back to warrior two. And then we'll fold the left forearm to the left thigh and reach up with this right hand, either reaching up towards the ceiling or over the ear, whatever you like. We'll inhale, we'll lift up and out of the waist, coming back to warrior two. Exhale. Inhale, reverse. Exhale into your warrior two. Side angle, inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, side angle. Exhale back into your warrior two. So now I just want you to straighten the left leg, Come back into your warrior two position with flexed left knee, and then just flow at your own pace. Maybe without even thinking about the breath, just moving through the transitions and trusting that your body will take you there. And we'll all meet back in our warrior two pose. Straighten that left leg, hands to hips. Dial the toes in the same direction and rock forward and back. Maybe lift the heels and then lift the toes. We'll take it to the other side. So now the right toes will face the short edge of your mat, and we'll just flex and extend. So easing our way into warrior two on the right side. When you feel comfortable, knees into your lunge, hands can extend. And then just stay with me, connected to breath for a few rounds, and then we'll flow on this side. So left arm slides down the left leg, reach up with the right arm, full breath in. Exhale into your warrior two. Side angle inhale. Just exploring that left arm, see where it wants to go. Exhale, warrior two. Reverse inhale. Warrior two. Side angle. Full breath in. Feeling into the sides of the body. Coming back into your warrior two, and now setting your own pace. Connecting to breath and sensation. One or two more rounds wherever you're at. We'll all meet back in warrior two. Hands to hips and straighten that right leg. And dial the toes in the same direction. So we're still in that wide leg stance. And we'll just bend into the right knee, bend into the left knee. So working it out side to side. Gaze can be down here. And then with straight legs without locking the knee, we'll roll the shoulders back. We'll inhale, arms up. Coming halfway. So just that halfway lift with the feet a little bit wider than the hips. So reaching for that large ball, reaching through the fingertips, exhaling down through the feet. Inhale one more time. This time we'll exhale the fingertips towards the mat, chin to chest. Shake your head yes or no very slowly. You can bend into the knees here, right and left, left to right. But we're going to add some twisting to these movements. So the left hand will be underneath the gaze. You can always have a prop. Blocks are great. I like the control of tented fingers. Left hand underneath the gaze. We're going to extend that right arm out to the side. Reach up if you like, bending into the left knee, and then switching it out. So now the right hand is underneath the gaze. You can bend into this right knee, extending that left arm. See if you can reach to the side or up. We're just moving at a pace that feels comfortable within our body. Generously bending those knees to allow the movement to happen. A lift in the upper body. One or two more times, and then we'll find that full fold. Using a block or a prop for any extra support to fully release in the upper part of the body. Gently shifting and swaying from side to side. And we'll come up halfway. press into the hands, whether they're in a prop or tented fingers or on your mat, and just toe heel the feet in a little closer together. You have a bit more control. And then from here, we're just going to pivot the hands to the short side of your mat and pivot the feet. And we'll step back into our downward dog. We're just working our way back with the head slightly below the heart. And pedal press it out, extend through the heels. Maybe inhale, come all the way up onto the tiptoes. Exhale the heels down. Inhale, coming up, tiptoes. Just notice how the shoulders stack over the wrists here. Some of you may be down on one forearm or both. I'm going to bend my knees a lot, come on down. So from here, downward dog, you can come into a plank pose. You can also come down into 8-point pose. So the knees come down with the toes, the hands, chest and chin. And we are ultimately working our way down, belly to mat. So we'll take a little bit of time here just to reconnect to our breath. You can fold the forearms. Make any adjustments in the pelvis. And notice your breath. So with the weight of the body down onto the mat and onto the floor, feel into the inhale. Perhaps the ease of the exhale. And certainly turn your head and neck to one side, find release there. Turn your head to the opposite side, a few more rounds of breath. With your gaze down or perhaps your eyes closed. With your mind's eye, just imagine where the breath is floating in and out of. And what parts of the body are inflating, expanding, filling up. Just becoming attuned to those areas. And then exhale long and slow. So in this position, we'll bring a little bit more of an active quality in. So the chin can tuck, the forehead can press into the mat, and you can bring the hands towards the shoulders. So the elbows are bent. You can imagine that halfway lift that we did when we were in mountain pose. We did that halfway lift and the elbows sort of came up like grasshopper arms. I'm going to sort of mimic that movement. So inhale, we're just going to rotate the head and neck and find that lift. And then you can exhale, chin to chest. So we'll start here, just by the rotation of the head and the neck. Inhale, find your lift. Hands are down. Exhale, tucking chin to chest. This time as you inhale and lift the gaze, maybe you hover the hands and you fully flex those elbows. So this is where those grasshopper arms come in. So we're activating through the front body, and then exhale. Chin to chest, forehead to mat. Take that one or two more times. Inhale, finding that lift, that activation through the upper part of the body, maybe noticing what's happening in the low body to make this action happen, and then fully release. And one more time, find that lift. And lower. From here, we'll extend the arms in front. So palms are down, arms are reaching in front. My forehead is still pressing down into the mat, chin is tucked. And we're just going to lift the right leg. So just lift up the right leg, circle out through the ankle, and then lower it back down. So just readjusting the pelvis here, and do the same on the left side, just lifting up that left leg, maybe pointing the toes, Flexing through the heel, circling out through the ankle, and then lower. All right, so from here, we'll just add the arms. So we're gonna work in with opposites. We'll inhale and lift the right leg. It doesn't have to be a full lift. You don't have to get that knee up or that thigh up. Personally, I like to keep my right thigh down so I have some nice stable connection to the mat. So I'm just staying lifted with the lower part of my right leg, and then my left arm can reach, maybe even my gaze, just be on the edge of the yoga mat. Full breath in here, and then exhale and hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale and hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale and hover. One more time this side. Exhale and release. Chin to chest, forehead to mat. Maybe rock it up from side to side. And then we'll take it to the other side. So left leg and right arm this time. So inhale, lift your left leg. Just notice how far that left leg wants to go. Take some time to notice what parts of the body still make connection to the mat. Maybe the top of that right foot to keep you stable, and lift your gaze and lift the right arm. So left leg lifts, right arm lifts, and then exhale, we hover. Inhale, activate and lift. Exhale and hover. A few more times, finding that full breath in. It's a lot of focused concentration here. And lower. You can release the leg, release the arm, shake it out from side to side. For this next pose, we're going to take both arms up and both legs up. So if that's not calling to you tonight, then we can just take a couple of belly breaths. Otherwise, just lifting up the legs. So again, I like to keep my thighs down. I have a little bit more control in my pelvis when I can do that. So just lifting up the low legs, and then I can lift up my gaze and see if the arms want to reach as well. You can even just switch it out, one arm and then the other. Try not to hold on to your breath. Exhale long and slow, maybe even just hovering. Inhale, find that lift again. Hover. Inhale, lift. Exhale and hover. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale and lower. Chin to chest, forehead to mat. Just rock it out from side to side. You may want to fold the forearms, turn your head to one side, and just reconnect with your belly breaths. Redirecting the head and neck in line with the spine. Hands can slide underneath the shoulders to assist you. Curling toes under. I like to keep that sort of 8-point pose by lifting up the pelvis, bending through the knees, curling the toes under. That gives me a little more assistance to press up. And we're just going to hinge it back. And hinge forward and back. Or take this into our child pose, so however that looks for you, however that feels comfortable for you. Sometimes the forearms can be down and the hips can be lifted here, but hinged back. Sometimes the knees can be a little bit wider, the toes can touch. Lots of props here. You can throw a block, even a folded blanket underneath the forehead. Sometimes I bend my elbows and just use the support of my hands on the forehead or over the eyes. Cup the center of my palms and just hold my head and my hands. And reconnect to breath here. And take one or two more rounds together. Maybe the hands shift to the top of the head. Back of the head or even over the ears. And slowly taking time to cool the body back down. I'm going to shift the weight of my body into the left side. Slide this left hand and then the right hand. Just a couple more stretches here before we ease onto our backs. So coming up, if your knees are a little bit wider, you can realign them, whatever feels comfortable for you. We're just going to reach back with that right hand towards the lower right corner of your mat, and then just sweep that left arm in front. Kind of mimicking the move that we did at the very beginning of class, just switching out the legs. So now the left hand reaches back to the lower left corner, and that right arm sweeps up. Just getting a great stretch in the front of the body. And just still continuing with this side to side motion. One more time on each side. Lingering wherever it feels comfortable. And then we'll lower, walk the hands back. We're easing into our hands and knees pose again. So finding those rock backs, shifting forward, shifting back. We'll cross at the ankles, roll onto our seat. Extend the legs out. We'll give them a shake here. I bring my hands to the outside aspect of my hips and just lift up my hips and realign my seat. And here we'll bend the knees. So right knee, left knee. I like to keep the feet a little bit wider than hip width. You can take a couple spinal stretches here, hands on the fronts of the knees. Inhale and exhale, lengthening through the arms, tucking the chin, rounding the spine. So finding that breath connection. And before we lower down, we'll come back up and we'll take a twist on each side, but just an open twist. So the left arm, left elbow will come into the inside aspect of the left knee. So you can walk the feet out a little bit wider if you need to make this space happen, but activate through the left hand. So pressing this left elbow to the inside of the left knee. And then we can extend that right arm forward. We can stay with the reaching. This is an inhale. You can reach up. You can exhale and take your twist. Maybe the gaze will follow. So you can hold at any point here, but I like the rotation and the motion. So bringing that arm back around, inhale. As you open up, exhale. Coming back through center, inhale. Taking that a few times and then we'll switch it out. It's easy to allow this right knee to kind of splay out. So there's a tension or a hugging in of those knees towards the center line of the body. This is a twist, but a very active one. When you're ready, we'll bring that right elbow to the inside of the right knee. Activate the right hands. Make any adjustments in your seat. Left arm reaches this time. Exhale, open it up into your twist. Inhale, coming back forward. Exhale and open. Take this a few more times. Linger wherever you like. Coming back through center. Exhale. Hands can come back onto the tops of the knees. You can easily lower your spine to mat, or you can take a few rock and rolls with me. I like the spinal connection to the mat. So you can even start with the hands on the knees and inhale, take your gaze up, extend through the spine, the crown of the head. And as you exhale, lengthening through the arms, tucking the chin, rounding the spine, you can Just allow the feet to pop up, and hopefully you have enough space behind you. And you can just rock and roll spine to mat. So using a bit of momentum to bring you back up. This is a nice playful way to get the feet above the heart. And a gentle massage for the spine as well, maybe into the shoulders and the hips. We'll extend through the arms and extend through the legs, pointing the toes, reaching the arms up overhead. We'll all meet spine to mat here. Ultimately, the arms will be alongside the body, but just take a moment before we do any more stretches before rest. Just take a moment to allow the eyes to close, palms can be down, legs are extended, and just soften all of the muscles in the body. Return the breath to an easeful pace. And just notice the parts of the body that are making connection to the mat, and the floor and the earth. And then notice the parts of the body that are pulled away from the mat, the floor, and the earth. Those natural curves. Behind the shoulders, the gentle flexion of the elbows and the wrists, the middle part of the back into the low back, parts of the hips, maybe the underside of the thighs, and then that crevice of the knee, the back of the knee, and the curve of the ankle. So easeful breaths here. Slowly slide the knees back into flexion. So sole of the right foot presses down, sole of the left foot presses down. You can just rock it out from side to side. So rocking onto the hips, the knees shift and sway from side to side. Arms are alongside the body here. We'll bring the knees neutral, so pressing down through the feet. We're just activating through the pelvis. So there's this lift, this pulling away of the lumbar spine, the low back, and then you can pull the low back into the mat. So this rocking, this rolling of the pelvis, forward and back, pelvic tilts. You can connect with the breath here. Inhale as you pull away, exhale as you lower the pelvis down towards the mat. So a few more rounds, just getting into position. We're going to lift the legs once we have the pelvis down towards the mat. So once you have the pelvis tucked, so to speak, and that low back pressing into the mat, we have more stability in the lower part of the spine and the hips. And then from here, the arms can be alongside the body, and we're just going to unpeel the right heel, lift up that right foot, extend that right leg. Eyes can open here. And then same on the left side, unpeeling that left heel, lifting up the left foot, extending the left leg. So active legs, and then just the rotation of the toes. So as you rotate the toes towards your head, and feel that stretch in the backs of the legs, and then point the toes away, reaching up towards the ceiling. So that active quality. Circling out through the ankles. And then opening up the legs a little bit here into the letter V. You can activate the toes however it feels good for you. Just feeling the strength that's holding you up. Breath in and breath out. And then we can make a letter X here with the legs. So the left leg will be in front. You make that letter X. Open up into the V. Right leg in front, make that letter X. V, left leg in front, open up, right leg in front. So just work with that. And then coming back to that letter V, we're going to lower the left leg, but keep the right leg lifted, and then swap it out. Lower the right leg, keep the left leg lifted. Just continuing to breathe in and out. Swapping out the legs, we're hovering them. Lifting and lowering. extending both legs up, bringing a bend into the knees. Hands can come to the front of the knees or underneath and just rocking it out from side to side. Easeful breathing here. The left foot can lower. We'll keep that right knee bent and just gently place the right foot to the top of the left thigh. We'll take this figure four in a very casual way. So just rocking from side to side and then ultimately dropping both knees to the right. So just taking this figure four into a lying spinal twist and then explore the arms, maybe just opening the arms up above the head and then out to the side. The gaze may want to shift over towards the left side. A few rounds of breath here. When you feel ready to switch it out, you just press into the great toe side of that left foot and just toe heel the foot back. The hands can always assist the feet and the legs. As we switch it out, that right foot plants down, the left knee comes in. You can use the hands to bring the left foot to the top of the right thigh, opening up, just rocking things out from side to side. And then the knees fall to the left. Inhale, arms up overhead, out to the side. See if the gaze wants to go towards the right side. Take a couple rounds of breath here. So as we begin to bring a close to the practice, I always like to offer up a few moments of space where you can choose a stretch or a pose, anything that is calling you within the physical body. So pressing into that great toe side of the right foot, toe heeling the foot back so the knees can pop up. Use the hands to take that left foot off the right thigh and just find any stretch that would feel good for you at this moment. Maybe that stretch is reaching for a few props to settle you in for a few minutes of rest. Whatever it may be, it is about taking the ability of the mind and the body to have an open communication. So emotions and feelings and sensations that are being relayed back to the brain, that's your communication highway. That's the language of the body. And when we slow down, we move and we breathe, and we bring in this quality of mindfulness, it allows the communication to be that much clearer. So at this point in the practice, after you have taken some time for yourself, you can ease into a position of rest, and there's so many options here. I'm lying on my back with my knees together and my feet further away from my hips in this constructive rest pose. If you have the luxury of a wall or even a couch, you can maybe extend the legs up the wall or just allow the curve of the knee to fall into a couch cushion. That's ultimate luxury there. You can even lie on your side, or traditionally bring a bolster or a blanket underneath the knees or the thighs. We'll just take these last few minutes together, connecting to breath. I like to bring my hands to the belly, the low belly, settling into the center here. Stillness, noticing the state of the mind. Feeling the weight sink down into the floor. And reconnecting to inhale and exhale. If you'd like to continue with an extended rest, feel free to take a moment to log off and have a beautiful night, great sleep. Otherwise, if you're sticking with me, we'll deepen the breath. Exhale completely. Begin to shift and move any parts of the body as you reinvigorate with the breath. Reaching through fingers and toes. Unraveling from the position of rest that you chose. Perhaps drawing the knees in, rocking from side to side, or even rolling from right to left, and taking your pause here. Taking a moment to remember how you felt at the beginning of class. Noticing how you feel now. Gently pressing up, finding a seat. You can root down through the pelvis and flip through the spine. Drop the chin towards the chest and just shake your head yes or no. The hands can come together palm to palm, or I like to bring my left hand to the upper chest and stack the right hand over it. Just take a moment to thank myself for the practice. Bring in that quality of gratitude, not only for the time that you carved out to make these connections for yourself, but also extending that gratitude beyond into perhaps someone in your space, your household, that also had play in allowing this time to happen. So as we close tonight's community class, which is really all about connection, I like to end with a prayer of loving kindness and extend that out into the world, anyone or anywhere who may need it. May we all be filled with loving kindness. May we all be peaceful and at ease. May we all be safe and healthy. And may we all be happy and free. Thank you all so much for joining tonight. I wish you a great night, a great week, a good sleep. I hope the practice served you well. And feel free to reach out with any questions or comments. I'll be here next week.
Thank you.